tribulations, you have prevailed. The spirit is unbreakable, never derailed. With a rich heritage and culture and grace, Liberia, you are the land we embrace.
You are welcome to the bottom line, Liberia.
A beautiful Tuesday evening here from my end, and I guess it's the same from Paul's end. The 8th day of April 2025, Tuesday evening. Let me say welcome to all of you who are watching us, and for those of you who always follow us, we want to say welcome. And this is the bottom line Liberia. Paul, welcome. How are you?
Good evening, Linford. I'm great. It's good to be back, and it's great to be among the living. Another day in paradise. Welcome to the bottom line discussion.
Great. Today being Tuesday, it means that we have one more day to go in this week. That's going to be on Friday, and there'll be interesting things being discussed here today. And on Friday, hopefully we're going to have a guest. We're working seriously in the background with the guest, and the guest has consented, but nobody knows what can happen. But we'll be disclosing details of that guest to you, and then later on we'll tell you what we'll be discussing. And so, and that particular discussion will be from a particular segment of Liberia. And so I guess people from that part of Liberia will be interested in the discussions. But tonight, we're going to be looking at major events for the international scene as usual, like we always do. You know, the Portland Liberia is a group that always focuses on the international events, because we know Liberia is part of the Committee of Nations, meaning we are part of the global community. So whatever happens, whether it's thousands of kilometers away, it can affect us somehow. So we always like to inform our people, and then we end up on the home front. So Paul, you want to trail us through what we'll be looking at from the international side and the local side, and then from there we take our musical break while we share the show and get back to you.
Yeah, thanks, Linford, and to our audience, welcome to the bottom line discussion. So tonight we'll be looking at the situation in the Middle East and also in Europe and media, and then also we'll look at Africa. Why is it Africa is so important to the global community? Why is it that all the major powers are focused on Africa? We'll be dissecting why people taking mineral from our continent and all of the tariffs that Trump is putting on. Africa should be the one that to determine the way the world lives. So we'll look at that. And we'll look at the massacre in the Gaza Strip, and then why Donald Trump is not saying anything. But when in the so-called Western world, that especially the NATO alliance, the North alliance, that putting sanction on Putin, but now there's serious massacre, genocide that is taking place in Gaza, and the world is not talking. Their focus is on Putin. So we'll look at that, and then we'll go to Liberia. There is a major scandal at the Liberian Revenue Authority. Over 50 persons have been alleged or serious corruption scandal is at the LRA on insurance. We'll be looking at that. And then we'll also see what there was an interview today here by Tima Jlate, Alexander Coming, Mayfield, Revelation. Want to see, is he back now? Also, Taiwan will join the party is something we'll look at. So, yes, that will be the discussion of the night. So, we're looking forward. But watch out for the story why Africa is so important.
Okay, so we're going to bring you details of what Paul just outlined in a couple of minutes. First, we got to play our musical interlude so that we can all share the show. For those of you joining or the first time, this is the bottom line Liberia. My name is Linford Goa, coming to you from Norway, and Paul is there in the UK. So we're going to play short music and we'll be back.
My people, where you at? Where you at? Wake up from your slumber, stop sleeping. Whip your hands, whip your hands, whip your hands, whip your Come on, come on, come on. I know you're sleeping now. You gotta wake up some more, yeah? Okay, let's go. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. So much. I said they lie. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they will not know. I said we tired with their lies. We tired with their promises that led us to a lot of damages. We tired with that speech they preach indeed, and now unique they deceive us. The thing we saw, it frustrate us. So why can't you lie? Why can't you steal? Why can't you allow the citizens to be? You see, we just tell you that why we go tell you. But you fool us, you screw us, you use us and later on abuse us. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. They lie. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. So much. I said they lie. The people fool us, the people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they will not corrupt. No one to trust. My people, no one to hope on. Nobody. My hope that I have been broken. I'm telling you, brother. So where are the schools? Where are the roads? Where are the jobs that they say they could afford? But they're too selfish. The people tired with their rhetoric. People tired, they tired. You see the reason why we ask why the government betray. They have enough of time, but yeah, then instead they delay. People suffer. No work for people crying for hunger. Look at. Your vision and your mission, your intention to the nation, they poor. You got nothing to show. Nothing. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. They lie. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. So much. I said they lie. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they go not to corrupt. With their promises that led us to a lot of damages. We tired with that speech they preach indeed, and now unique they deceive us. The thing we saw, it frustrate us. So why can't you lie? Why can't you steal? Why can't you allow the citizens to be? You see, we just tell you that why we go tell you. But you fool us. You screw us, you use us and later on abuse us. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. So much. I said they lie.
Through trials and tribulations, you have prevailed. The spirit is unbreakable, never derailed. With a rich heritage and culture and grace, Liberia, you are the land we embrace.
You are welcome to the bottom line, Liberia.
Welcome to the Bottom Line Liberia once again. My name is Linford Goa, and Paul is in the UK, and our colleague Francis Mensah is going to be on in a couple of minutes. He's been away for a while now. He's been down like me, but we have to keep the struggle going. Paul, when we were kids coming up, we used to hear they say the struggle continues, right? In the course of the
Yeah.
people. Yeah. In the course of our viewers and the listeners, our struggle continues. Whether we down, we got to make sure we come back. Now, I'm fighting to get my breath in place, but if you're in the business of informing people, it becomes a duty because you got a personal relationship, right, with your audience. Paul, I don't know how you feel about that, but I feel that if we don't come to our people, we'll leave many questions than answers.
Yeah, that's right. And sometimes people will call say, how come you guys were not on the other day? So we are, that's the obligation. If you start something, you have to continue. And we also enjoy doing it because it's informative as well. And it gave us opportunity to do a lot of research on things that every day we get new stuff to talk about, which is good. Yeah. I know Francis will be joining us. I think Gemma also be joining us tonight. So we'll have a full house here today. Welcome, Francis.
Yeah, thank you guys. It's glad I'm glad to be back here. I miss a lot. This thing is addictive. When you're away, you need to come back. And contribute your 2 cents to global and national issues. So I see, yeah, good to see you guys again. How you guys been?
It's a lot happening in the government, though, and you've not been here to to defend and.
No, I've been listening sometimes. I know I've been following the show.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Well,
Well,
guys,
it's interesting though because tomorrow, I think it's tomorrow, they will be the build of hearing in Liberia.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we're gonna, because they two speak of business now. I think it's about time that it come to an end. So it's something that we'll be looking
Yeah,
for.
but the thing is, we cannot be very definite what the Supreme Court will say tomorrow because you see, it's just my own feeling, right? They are treading on a very fine line to avoid this thing, what people will refer to as interfering in the other people's business. So I'm sure first they came out with ultra virus. Maybe they're going to come out with ultra corona. They'll come with something I think.
Yeah.
Well,
No, whatever they come up with, man, the project have to accept it and then move on. That's all, because that's the way it should be. You can't have the country every day. People just not there. They don't have the country. They don't have it at heart. They're just there by their own self. And something.
yeah, right. I mean, the people are working. I mean, sometimes I hear people say, "Oh, people don't love the country." No, let me tell you, Paul. If there were no lucrative benefits, no huge amount of money to take home as pay in a house or in government, and people volunteer and say, "Okay, I'll sit down there and work. Maybe if I get $10 plenty, then I'll know that somebody loves the country." But somebody getting $15,000, they get the pardon for the $5,000 car every 3 years. Then you say that and I love for country. Okay,
Not at all. I agree with you. I thought you were going to say something. I think you're going to tell something
They
contrary.
never love the country, and that's why it is. If they love the country, they would not. Look, let's be honest here before we get into the international thing. If you love your people, you keen to serve. I give example, right? When Donald Trump started giving the putting, how they call it, the tariff on all of these businesses around countries, you know what happened? Our prime minister here, who's a puppet to the American, the stand he took, people now, the MPs, one of the MP is, he was worried about his people, how the people will survive. But in Liberia, it's the total opposite. The people worry about their own pocket. They don't worry about the people that put them in. You see, they're going to serve the people, but then it becomes the reverse. Instead of them serving, the people now become the server, and then they're there to rip the country out of everything. So they never love the country. They're just there to steal. It's something that we'll look at. Yeah, I agree with you. Because
Definitely.
you'll not be taking all that money and then the people. So what can
I think Francis wanted to say something.
Go on, Francis.
No, but look, the thing is that look, you guys said it all. I don't want to. No, I don't want to sound redundant. You know, you guys said, "Oh, nobody love the country. The people are just there for the money." And as we look at some of the national issues that things that are trending right now in the country, we'll discuss it. We see how the people. I mean, this is a direct link, a correlation to see how they do not love the country. Those who are serving higher positions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
that welcome some people. Linford. See. Madam Dottie Nelson Vivek. If I pronounce your surname, welcome to the show today. It's good to see you. And I see here Ali A. Gwen, first time seeing this name, following up from Harvard.
Linford, a relative.
Yeah, my brother is not the first time. We even hosted him on the show before. That's the agriculturalist.
Oh, okay.
I didn't go.
Great. So it's good to see all of you. Yeah. Before we shoot on Linford, you want to get into our discussion?
Yeah, we go international, because for me, the international thing is very interesting all the time because the local thing, when you talk a fact, they say, oh, that man, you're doing politics. Oh, why are politicizing everything? But at least the international thing, nobody knows me there. So if I got anything to say which is factual, I can say it. If I got anything negative to say, I will not be backing anybody because nobody knows me there, like I said. So I'm always.
I mean, the way you read there, fast can be both negative and positive.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, but it depends. They say beauty lies on the eyes of the beholder. It depends the ear that is hearing what I'm saying and how they are interpreting it. I'm not responsible to say what I say. I'm not responsible for people to understand the way they understand it. So
right. So we'll start with Africa, the continent. Why is Africa so important for the entire globe that we're in? And why is it our people in Africa are not smart enough? So this is research that was done that Francie is not AR. Listen to this.
Of 54 sovereign states, 17% of the world's population, 9.6% of the global oil output, 90% of the world's platinum supply, 90% of the world's cobalt supply, half of the world's gold supply, 2/3 of the world's manganese, 35% of the world's uranium, 75% of the world's coltan, and 54 votes in the United Nations General Assembly. This is what makes Africa so attractive and makes the continent a battleground for global powers. There are numerous fronts: investment and infrastructure, military power, diplomacy, soft power, trade, geopolitics. Every country has its own interest in Africa. In 2016, Israel began its scramble for the continent. Benjamin Netanyahu became the first Israeli prime minister to visit Africa in 50 years. What did he want? Votes in favor of Israel and against Palestine in the United Nations resolutions. Africa and Israel share similar histories, he said. Israel went on to sponsor solar, water and agricultural technologies. In the same year, 2016, Senegal co-sponsored a UN resolution. It condemned the construction of illegal Jewish settlements in the West Bank. What did Israel do? It cancelled the Mashav drip irrigation project. And this is just one example. Here's another one. The European Union has pledged more than $54 billion in sustainable investment for Africa. What does the EU want? Access to the African market of 1.3 billion people. Brussels has negotiated free trade agreements with at least 40 African countries. But does this ensure a balanced two-way trade? It doesn't. And no country has a bigger interest in Africa than China. China is funding 1 in 5 infrastructure projects in Africa. It is building every third one. Africa has an infrastructure deficit and China has a signed checkbook. Starting 2005, China has invested at least $2 trillion in Africa. It built 6,200 kilometers of railways, including the continent's longest railway line connecting Ethiopia and Djibouti. Beijing has also built the African Union headquarters in Addis Ababa, a continent of 50.
Hi, hey, right here.
Okay, that's it. So, guys, that's Africa. We have everything, and we poor. And all the big players in the world, they want some little part of Africa, something they want from us. And our leaders don't have the sense to see reasoning, to see logic, to do something about Africa. This is where we are. We have it all. What say you?
Probably Francis can take a hit.
Look, this has been a long running battle, a situation in Africa over the years. Look, from the 1950s to 40s, from the 40s up to present, Africa has been the continent or the place where major Western powers go, and I mean the first, I mean from the beginning they grabbed Africa, they grabbed our resources, then they decided to stop it to negotiate by giving some African countries independence, on paper, but they were controlled by these people. So look, it has been over the years or hundreds of years. So Africa, we are still the same. Our people just can't. It just cannot get it. It's just because of greed. It's not about ignorance, but it's about greed. I know individual greed is not. Just for individual pockets to be lined up and filled, from the president down to the least man in the offices in Africa. So now, the Africans' unity, solidarity, and I don't know if we can say patriotism or proud African, the proudness of Africa, we do not have it collectively. So it's a problem, bro. You guys will come and then rig our resources and go. And leave us there with nothing.
Francis is right. So, Lifa, the reason why I decided to put this out, you see that America is putting tariff on all of these countries in the world, right? Even Liberia tariff, I think 10%, because what they say they reciprocate wherever you do, they do it back. So the thing they want, we get it. So why we can put heavy tariff on them and we benefit more?
I will give some analogy, but this analogy may not make sense in this case. But let's say you got a good footballer, like Georgia, and the man are a good footballer, but Georgia did not have football field in your house, so he got somewhere where he can play. So we got the resources, right? As African countries or the entire continent, we got all it takes to develop. So the people who know how to play the game, they come to us and play on our field. Why only they're clapping for them? See it? So when Joshua or when Lou start ready to play, all the players, they get football field to their house. That only football field they can go play on the stadium, and then we'll go there. And that stadium belongs to us. We are the owner of the stadium. They can't play them, we'll clap for them. Okay? So, but what I'm trying to say is that Africa's problems, sorry, it's a long problem. I don't see a solution to it right now, and it's been for decades. From the time Africa was so-called colonized, and what sense does it make that we as a continent we will sit down and other people come from far away, we even know them, they don't know like us, then they come and take us, then they will now be like our owner. They own us and they start dividing us. I don't know what Africans were thinking those days, because nobody can tell me that when they were making and started colonizing people that the black men couldn't fight by, or was it that we were afraid or what? Something went wrong. And probably it was difficult for our forefathers those days to resist.
And the people use the gun.
Yeah, my father always would tell me, say the war that you did not fight, you will always be the hero. Because you say, if I were there, I want to do this. Probably I'm saying these things out of ignorance, probably because I was not there. But that the white man will come, he doesn't look like us, he resembles us. Then he takes over us, then he started to decide. You know, when I hear things Victoria for this one with the white man in. So the people that were living to that place, they knew that water was there. They gave a knee, they were waiting for Victoria to go forward and there to be Victoria for. You know, so we allow these people to come this far, and they have come. Again, when one chica said, I want to tell you, take it all the other one is a boss, then all the other one is start catching you. We allow it, our people allow it from the start, and it has gone into us now. Nothing we can do. Because when police, the first Nepal, they cancel all of our history. They didn't let Africans did not have any written history, nothing. Okay, that we do know better. They cancel all of our way of living, our culture. Then they did just about everything to make us feel like we're not important. So, and people born, if children born nowadays, they all speak English in our African language. But that's why we understand. So how can you separate us from these people? It's very difficult because they have they even colonize us more in that sense. So they follow us and they know what is good for them. They came and started taking our resources and carrying it. You know, while we sit there, we will have it. When I hear people say, "Oh, Africa will get all the things," we are not poor. So if we are poor, then how we got these things? We are not poor, we got it, but we don't know how to use it. Okay, so the guys who are the good players, they come and play on our own stadium while we sit there and clap for them. So you know that's why you see China and the Chinese, they were like Africans, not many, just a few years ago, they were poor people, but because they work hard. And let me limit it to our country, Liberia. We don't want to work hard. We want the shortest cut in life. Okay, we want the shortest cut. Somebody go to high school and graduate from there, man, whole day dressing. And I don't know whether you guys noticed this here. The way Liberian men can dress, even the one that are not working, the way they can dress. Come to Europe, how many people you can see dressing? The only place I went, 2 places I've been in Europe that I see people can dress. Maybe just few of them. You see France and Germany. Okay, when you see the guy dress, the guy are great. They get later. I think that office executives. But here in Norway, our men anywhere that she tries it. When I'm working as journalist, like bro, whole day wearing tie, Sunday and wearing tie with choke. But I keep me a solid minute. They wear that t-shirt to go do what they have to do. Okay.
So, Linfa, there's a question there from Dolly. So, saying talking about jeans, trousers, and green, and Francie, there's a question there.
My question to you all on this panel: which one of your country, birth, Liberia resources have government invested in? But Dolly, I think this is the thing I'm trying to say. We got a team, but we don't know how to use it. Again, I got beg or rest my whole. I'm not a cook it. Then I'm waiting for Francis, Tima, or Paul to come and cook it for me. And when you cook it, it take enough, then I complain, hey, my own ready man cook it, we carry it. When I got it beg already, I'm ready. So our government have not, you know, I hear people say, people call company like ArcelorMittal, MNG Go, and all the other countries that are extracting from our country, they call them investors. What sense does it make? That investment is if I take something and put it somewhere, I take my capital and put it somewhere where I'm turning it over to be able to make profit. But people can take your own resources and carry it and say they are investing. But how do you define investment in that kind of sense? So, guys.
Francis, you want to say something about that question?
Look, I mean, what much we can say, we all know. I mean, it's clear that none of our leaders, none of the governments, over the years have actually invested in any of our resources that we have in the country. They have not developed it. I mean, they start supplying it. They allow a company like Fasten have been in our country for how many years? They did not even have a processing plant. They could not even face slip or tip hotel how to make the local guys how to use the ingenuity, the innovation, the innovative minds to cut old car tires and make tip hotel. Fasting with all the educated people we have, they couldn't make even to process it rather turn it over, turn the rubber into to finishing product or something like that. That will help the country economy. But
It's
I
not
mean,
a
look,
problem. It's not a problem we face in Africa because other African countries they are innovative enough. Liberia in particular, since the 1700 when the Industrial Revolution took over, its technology has been so flexible. Why on earth that we cannot use our own raw material to say that come with something and manufacture our own raw material that we can sell out there and create a lot of things? Look at South Korea. They use mobile phone. They came up with Samsung. I mean, why we African we like this? We depend on the other people and we cannot do it ourselves. I mean, the
Well,
technology is there.
that's a good question. The thing is dependency syndrome, and I don't know whether whether our people or even me, including me, we still thinking about a colonization that took place in Africa because, no, Paul, once you get somebody to depend on or somebody you think maybe just psychologically, you say, okay, anything happened to me, let me and you walking, two of us walking in the night, I depending on some kind of way, you also depending on me, right? I say, yeah, if anybody attack on me and Paul, but if you walk here alone, if you are alone going, you don't depend on nobody, depend on yourself. But once you are two, whether that small baby say you're walking, we say, yeah, at least I get somebody by my side. So they made African countries to walk out of that colonization with this mentality that we got big brother. We got Liberia. Small thing, international community, and who talking to? Talking about America and Europe and all the countries. Okay? International community. Even when we're fighting war, our own people, nobody can say, let's cease fire. They will not listen to it. But they say, oh, let the international community come. So the dependency syndrome, that's the thing suffering us. And how can we get out of it? And like I said, it's gone deeply into our body, into our soul. We are born with it. And it's just difficult to erase it. I don't know how we can get out of that. Small thing. Look at your government. They made project. Then 75% of that project will be the hoping that it will be covered by friendly donors.
I
What's
tell
the
you, my man. What? I mean, oh my God. Look.
That's a valid point, no?
Hmm.
So, and the question says, do they ask that exactly the question? We depend on people, so we cannot get anybody to do any serious investment in the country. If you look back, so before the 14-year of civil war in Liberia, there was progress in Liberia. You know that because like my mom used to work at biscuit factory, chicken soup factory, battery factory, matches factory, all of these, there were progress that our forefathers made at that time. They saw lucky. But why is it now since the war that took place in Liberia, it's like instead of we looking up high, we're looking down. We're not seeing to find a balance. Why? And we are the place now where a young, because I remember when I was in university, that's when when I started my first white collar job, this young man came up with Facebook. They innovate today now become something. Another young boss out there in China say, oh, let me do TikTok. But in Liberia, where we have people don't have that mindset to even think beyond, it's all running behind a group of crooks. Nothing, if you're trying to explain life to them, they don't get it. Even our land people in Liberia, it's like when you enter, your brain have to turn around the other way that you cannot see vision. That's why today you found that the people who say they want to Harvard, they will do a budget, and then it depending on the EU and America, 75%. How that possible? And you have the natural resources there that you cannot turn it around yourself. I mean, something just crazy about our country.
Let me get answering to what you're saying. No, education is not a pure academic. Go learn, open a book. I remember when I was in the 9th or 10th grade, we knew almost all the countries in Europe and the capital cities. Only the president, they didn't stretch on too much because the president can change anytime. Now, all the thing is waste of time. Teacher will come open the biology book, say you're drawing him up. You see that the whole day drawing, you're wasting your time. Because how many people want to be? No. And I saw this. I was in the classroom in Liberia as well. And I know the difference. Now I know the difference between our educational system and that of the European. Like here in Norway, kindergarten, they put all the children in the kindergarten, they got all the toys there, everything, from building blocks to everything. So when the children go to, the first day they go, they start playing. You see a group of children who are interested in building the blocks that load a horse. Then you see the other group of children who are interested in playing with cars. So they observe them the first year. The second year they observe them. If they stay in that same group of children stay doing they will always focus on them. They'll put them on one place. Then they get one who less sports, who less physical thing. You see? So when they go, by the time they finish and enter first grade, they follow them with it. Now, I don't want to take the time, but here we always got a joke for the Norwegian. We say, oh, they let them go higher in education. But the children, they don't know the spot. The first thing, like bro, man, when you graduate from high school, you want to go college. What you going to learn? Political science, sociology, this and that. You're not learning trade. The bare book, the bare boom book that we learn, that's the in Liberia. You go sit there and read, you open a dictionary, you open your more, you talk book, nothing behind it, no trade. But here, by the time the children graduate from 10th grade, then they go to the one they call video, go in school and read this. I know they got like 12, 13, 12, 11, 12 to 13 grade. They spend that 3 years there. That trade, that child that started playing with car from way down, maybe he mechanic. So that's why he was specialized. When he graduate from there, he can decide to either go to college or to university. But most of them, you see, one or two of them will form that group. In their plumbers, the two of them, they part they post, they read their neon, they put their plumbing. They're making money. Instead of going beyond somebody to say, I'll say. So we can always say, oh, the children don't go to university. No. We the front now, we want to say one let plenty both go for us in debt. If I knew that's what I'll do. Because the children, it's easier for them to get a job. You work for yourself. The electricians are there.
And this, yeah, welcome, Jamal. It's been a while. Jamal, welcome to the Bottom Line discussion. It's good to see you. And
thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Great.
Welcome.
So, what you're seeing just now is exactly what says Dolly mentioned here. Don't you know in Liberia, you see, for me, I went to vocational school throughout, from junior high school all the way to high school. So, and that vocational school, I can say that are they carpentry, are they auto mechanic, are they electricity? I have idea on all of those things. So I don't have to go university to be a mechanic. So, but we don't develop ourselves. In Liberia, everybody has to get 3 PhD, 4 masters, and then you have no work experience. Your hope is yet and give you a ministry or a place that you can go and do what we call stealing. And this stealing is like this. Corruption scandal are LRA, because all of the people that are stealing, what happened? They all get master degrees. That is the Liberia. But if you give them an entity to run, they're not able to run it, to develop the other people, to nourish those people, to take over, to develop the country. So we're not in that level. I was just told yesterday, kids in third grade now taking wires in the West African examination. So I said, but wait a minute. If third grade are taking this, that's very interesting, because we didn't do it our time. where the standard was much better than this time.
I took it in sixth grade. We were the last grade. I took it in sixth grade, 1976.
As a kindergarten taking wire. That's what I'm telling you. So, I mean, Jamal, welcome to. I know you've been following the discussion. It's about Africa that we have everything, and today, Liberia, for example, we come up with a budget. We depend on the Western government, or they call them the Western partners, our donors. 75% of that budget depend on those people. Now, tariff is all over the place, and our finance minister went to the Senate and told us the Liberians should pray. So they will pray, help us now, the situation, what we in. Talk to us. You are in Liberia. How is it? It's good to have you back here. Are you praying for your budget, my brother? Welcome to the bottom line discussion.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks, you guys. Thanks for having me. Do you hear me loud and clear?
Yeah. We're hearing you.
Right. Well, I mean, yeah, okay. You can look at it from every angle. You know, Liberia is built on a religious principle. If you want to console people, you use your religious means to get people to listen to you. So people, probably that's what the minister is using. And if you and myself stay alone at this end, we tend to believe like God does not exist. And if you look at the life of Liberians and Africa in general, we've been turned to those religious centers to believe that there's an end of there's a life at the end of the tunnel. So we should have a belief system where that keep us alive. And sometimes most of those top ranks, dignitary ministers use those lines to get us to commit ourselves to remain, submitted and have hope. So I don't know from what angle the minister was speaking from, but I believe that sometimes it works. And if you say that, let's believe that there's a system you work for, we want divine intervention in our system. And if you go to Liberia right now, there are more religious centers than anywhere else. There's schools. So what is the system? People believe that at the end of the day, God will listen to them. And it's not the way it works this end. Here we believe in how it works. Since you work and you put the structure in place, then you see the end results. So it's a two different systems we're looking into. And yeah, so I don't know, like I've said, I don't know where the ministers are coming from. But if you're saying that, Paul, you go to Liberia right now, you set up a church or whatever, a religious institution, people tend to, gravitate to you, listen to you, and you're a change man. You see, like, those who committed those atrocious crimes in Liberia, most of them turn to be religious people. People listen to them now. There are various religious centers that are filled up every now and then for listening because they are giving testimonies. So you see where we're coming from? You don't do this on the end. At this era, people will tend to say, why would I listen to a felony, a crime, the guy committed murders and stuff like that? You'll be condemned. So it's a two different school of thoughts. So that's how I will speak to on that issue. But the issue of why our system is so corrupt, I think it has to do with structure, I think, Paul, where we don't have the means of people, what we earn, it doesn't sustain us. Like if what I earn, it can't sustain me, eventually I'll end up doing something to sustain myself. So this is where I stand. I mean, I don't support that approach with Steve, but if the government come up with a good financial regime or a paying system structure for our people, or the labor system ministry kind of system where our people can benefit looking at the life condition living, these corruptions or the embezzlements will be routine or contained in a way that their life can be looked into. If I'm getting $50 US every month and I have my son to go to school, my wife to get something, I have other things to go, transportation to go, and I have to pay that $75 US, and I'm getting $50 a pay every month. What do you expect me to survive? So that's a means of corruption. So we need to have a proper structure. If you talk about good governance, coming up with all these rules and regulations, all those good behavior rules or tendencies and stuff like that, there must be a system where that will sustain us. I think that's why I would see it. If that's not, they're all going to be corruption. I don't care what you do. I have to eat. So I don't care what the government think. I have to eat.
Right. He said, so because we started the thing here about people, the question was, live or race it. People don't love Liberia, the country, because if they love the country, what you just said, they'll put that structure in place. Because what on earth of the representative will be earning $8,000 per month, and then the police officer who sort of implement getting $150 or $100. The gap is too wide. So if that gap becomes narrow, then you will not be talking about stealing. But one person is going to be making a huge amount, then other person getting $40. I mean, it just doesn't work that way. So you're right. Francis, come in, my brother. What say you? You muted. Unmute, Francis.
I said, we will go around the merry-go-round, talking about Liberia, the ills, how we could, proffer solutions to, the current situation in the country, corruption, the lack of basic health services. It boils down to what we call Jamel Reddy said. We have structure in the place. We have said it with all times, with all numbers about structure, systems, not following, and upkeeping those basic, those basic rules. I mean, governance systems. The rules of the law. I mean, we just the same. I don't just know where to say it. God, Liberia, over the years, it's still the same. People come, government come, the government go. Liberians lived in Liberia. They are their own problem because I do not live in Liberia. Once you travel, you get exposed. You become what you call it. Cognizant of how governments you run. Look, we all live abroad. I mean, do not require a master's degree to be, let's say, the Minister of Agriculture or whatever it is. Our major problem in Liberia, we lack managers. We always like to mash entity with these professionals. I agree, a Minister of Finance, you have some economic background or something, but the police director or probably the chief of staff of the armed forces or the Minister of Defense does not have to be a military man. In these countries, once you have an administrator there, it will help the government. It will help. They will see things from a different angle, but look, that real problem is a whole other problem. I mean, that go into the newspaper. That's what's trending because we spent 10 years from now, we'll be talking the same thing about Liberia.
Before we go to the newspaper, Francis, it's the same corruption that you just talked about. It's the same repeat. There's nothing new. So before we go, there's something other because we're all international and there's something happening in the world, especially in the Middle East. Before we go to Liberia, because we'll end this on Liberia. In the Middle East, a few days ago, the paramedics were killed in Gaza, and the world is not talking about that. But we know if it was Putin on the other side that have over 1 million sanctions, they will say something about him. But Netanyahu is trying to annex a whole group of people, and the world is quiet about it. And this is the concern of everybody. Even today, the United Nations secretary, the secretary just spoke that they stopped aid, they stopped food from going to Gaza. But nobody talking about this. But then here, my own useless prime minister will call a summit, say they call them the coalition of waiting to go fight Russia. But the people on the other side, they said they want to annex them. And Donald Trump made there was when Netanyahu visited, he explained how they want to treat Gaza. So it's something that we need to look at. And I want y'all to let me see if I can get it, a little clip here quickly so we can discuss it. So while we're looking up, guys, let me bring the video up. Francis, you can be talking about what I just said until I play this video. What your take?
Look, look. The word is complacent. They are part and parcel of the genocide, the annihilation of the people of Gaza, the Palestinians. Look, if I just want to give you guys a scenario, you guys just look at the trend of what you call it, attack in Ukraine. There's a parallel relationship. There's a correlation. If the Israeli attack the Palestinians, kill more people, Israel will repeat, will do the same thing. Israel, Russia will launch more missiles into what you call it, Ukraine. Guys, just follow the pattern, because right now Russia is just waiting for somebody to say, no, why are you guys doing this? And Russia is just suddenly playing the card game. They don't want to say anything about politics, want to denounce Israel attack, but they're playing it quietly. Because Russia has been the friend of these people in the Middle East. Syria, Iran, these are the allies. And these are the people who are standing up for the countries are standing up for the people of Palestine, the Saudi Arabia, the Jordan, you name it. They are all there quiet, depending on America and the American money and the American military supply. So I just drawing it analogy, the comparison. You guys should watch it. Every time the Israeli attack attack the Palestinians and kill more of a lot of Palestinians, Russia will retaliate on the world, the Western interests. So what's going on in Gaza is a complete mess.
And the thing is, they're not talking. They will say, "Oh, Israel have the right to defend itself," but on the other side, the other pro too, they have the right to defend themselves. But you putting sanction on what you're doing. On the other side, you're not putting sanction on the guy you support. So this is what happened a few days ago. This is Sky News about, because they don't have Western media in the place. It's only Al Jazeera. They even drove them from the place. So people are using a smartphone to send a message that the war, the Western media refuse to say anything what's happening. But when on the other side, what Francis just talked about, they will be the first to run with it. Oh, this guy is this. So let's listen to this.
Well, new video has emerged this morning of the killing of humanitarian workers in Gaza that contradicts the Israeli military's version of the strike on an aid convoy. The footage, obtained by the New York Times and verified by Sky News, was discovered on the mobile phone of a paramedic who was found along with 14 other people in a mass grave. It shows that the ambulances and fire truck that they were travelling in were clearly marked and had their emergency lights on when Israeli troops hit them with gunfire. Well, Israel originally said the vehicles were advancing suspiciously without headlights or emergency signals. Well, our Middle East correspondent, Alistair Bunkle, joins us now live from Jerusalem. So, Alistair, has there been a change in what the Israelis have said about what happened here?
We are still awaiting a statement from the Israeli military. I understand one is being worked on now and will be issued later today. But the video obtained by the New York Times, part of which you just saw, was taken from the body of one of those medics killed and was filmed on his mobile phone. Now, this incident happened shortly before dawn on the 23rd of March. A convoy of Palestinian Red Crescent ambulances and one fire truck was travelling on a road just north of the town of Rafah, which is in the south of the Gaza Strip, and they were going to look for colleagues of theirs that had gone missing. And they see a car that had diverted onto the side of the road. They then pull over too, and contact was lost with them shortly before 7 o'clock that morning. It was 5 days before their bodies could be recovered, and they were found buried under the sand in a mass grave. Now, the Israeli military initially said in a very confident statement that they did not, in their words, randomly attack these vehicles, and they blamed the vehicles for not having coordinated their movements with the IDF, saying that it was an operational zone. Investigations by our own data and forensics team suggest that it was not an operational zone at that moment, and actually evacuation orders for that area were only issued an hour after last contact was heard with the Red Crescent vehicles. The IDF also, and this is the crucial bit in relation to this video, said that those ambulances were travelling without their lights on and without any sign of them being emergency vehicles, and so therefore they were suspicious. But the video obtained by the New York Times very clearly shows that those ambulances had their emergency lights flashing, and the clip we're going to show you next is the moment that they pulled to the side of the road. And I should warn you, it is also the moment when the Israeli military opened fire on those paramedics, and you hear one of them reciting the Shahada, the Muslim prayer of death, effectively saying, "Forgive me, mother, this was the path I chose to help people." Well, this video was shown to the United Nations Security Council yesterday, we understand, and was passed to the New York Times by an unnamed diplomat. The New York Times have obviously done their own verification on it, but so have we, and we've used satellite imagery and aftermath footage as well in order to establish the veracity of that video. As I say, we are now awaiting a statement from the Israeli military to hear what the updated version of events they have to say is.
Okay, Ali, for now, Andrewson, thank you for that update.
Yes, and they came out with their own version, say they're now investigating, but they laugh first. So before I bring everybody in, there's another one. It's just a short clip. Just combine all of these two, please. While they say that Donald Trump, who came to power, say he wanted to end wars. That's the word he used. He was there to be a man of peace. But then we know there's trouble all over the place. He's not saying anything. So listen to Donald Trump and Netanyahu in this Aja video clip.
You know how I feel about the Gaza Strip. I think it's an incredible piece of important real estate, and I think it's something that we would be involved in. But having a peace force like the United States there, controlling and owning the Gaza Strip, would be a good thing. Because right now, all it is for years and years, all I hear about is killing and Hamas and problems. And if you take the people, the Palestinians, and move them around to different countries, and you have plenty of countries that will do that, and you really have a freedom zone. You call it the freedom zone, a free zone, a zone where people aren't going to be killed every day. That's a hell of a place.
Whether it's Ukraine or Syria or any other place, people could leave. Gaza was the only place where they locked them in. We didn't lock them in. They're locked in. And what is wrong with giving people a choice? Now, we've been talking, including over lunch, about some countries, I won't go into them right now, that are saying, if Gazans want to leave, we want to take them in. And I think this is the right thing to do. If you give, it's going to take years to rebuild Gaza. In the meantime, people can have an option. The president has a vision. Countries are responding to that vision. We're working on it. I hope we'll have good news for you.
Guys, so they acquire, and Donald Trump said it, the people must leave because for real estate, they will make money. And that place is one of the most beautiful part of the Middle East. Jamal, you follow the story. What say you? The two video. The war is just on banners. The double standard.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. You see the killing before you come in, the killing of those
All right.
Yeah. If that was going to be the Ukraine,
that's it. Internet's flipped.
Yeah. So while you saw the internet, or let me go to France. If this was in the Ukraine that you kill those party married, what we're going to be hearing now, all the major news, all of them will be talking about it. But this situation just gone quiet. Where is this NATO president, the former Dutch prime minister? The coalition of waiting, where are they? Why are they not talking?
Look, talking to me or Francis?
If your internet good, then we'll start with you, Jamal. Go on.
Oh, okay, quickly, Paul. Don't go around Europe. Let's be very strict here and very, very, very realistic. Let's go to the Arab world where we expect them to take a bold steps toward what is happening to the people in Palestine. That's the first thing. Forget about Europe. And are they not playing? They are playing these what the Arabs are doing to help the brothers. You forget about Europe. Forget about Europe. Just look at them. They are opening arms and they are allowing the Israelis and Americans to allow them to move them to move them from their birthplace to be relocated. That's another hypocrisy by itself. Before the Europeans coming in to help the Arabs and their brothers, and people of the same religious background, you should also show the support. And if the Arabs are willing to help the people in Palestine, this will be over. But they're not willing to do anything. The Saudi Arabia, other countries that are powerful in the world, they're protected by America and Asia. So they're not willing to come and say, listen, if you keep killing these people for no reason, we'll stop our relationships. We'll do this. It's just a first step. That's as simple as clean and simple. But that's not happening. You expect to come to Europe and look for support. The only country that put up a challenge took Asia to the war. South Africa to the South Africa state meeting oppositions in the court. I don't think Luxembourg or whatever, or Holland. South Africa is the only one. No other country put challenge the people of Asia, the government of Asia. What's happening in Palestine? So Paul, don't forget, I don't want you to look at Europe. I want you not even helping the people themselves. That's the first and foremost. So if they will come out first, the war will be over. They are not doing anything. That's the first and foremost. And this all lip service politics. The world about interest. Politics is about interest. This guy was saying, "Loud, good, my internet keep flipping," but I think I'll leave it for my colleague Francis to come in. I will see if my internet settles. I have time. As long as the people in the Middle East now willing to help the people in Palestine, that is going to happen, Paul. The Europeans will not do much. You see what happened in Ukraine. They open our doors to the people for Ukraine all over Europe. They flock into Europe. They've been accepted every doors. They ask every home to open their doors to Ukrainians. Every person in Ukraine, they allow them. What is not happening in that part of the Middle East? We go and discuss talking in Qatar. We go to Saudi Arabia. When Donald Trump started, the first meeting he had with the people, he took the whole Ukrainian meeting to Saudi Arabia to discuss the life of the people of Ukraine. If I even involved in the European, didn't know that story. There was happening around. It's happening in Egypt. It's happening in Qatar. Those guys have their view of the police. The Gaza, these people from Hamas, other militant group in Palestine have their offices in the Arab countries. But what they do, they see giving them, feeding them with food and stuff like they're not helping them politically. They're not helping them to settle. So we shouldn't be playing around these things. The Arabs are not willing to help those people. Because the problem is the Saudi government, other government are in, the public government. So once they don't give the support America, those guys will withdraw all the security arrangement and they will be overthrown. And those radicals will take over. So for that, they'll keep their mouth shut. So that's the situation. We will talk about the injustice around the world. Let's start from our own house. Our own house. The Arabs need to help the people in Palestine. They got the money, they got the support, they got the means to stop it. Forget about Europe, man. Let's stop Europe. Let's look at the people there. That's my saying on this.
What say you, Francis?
All this killing are happening, all these things, Europe will show, nobody will show. You take it everywhere. Nobody will listen. But I'm gonna 50,000 people being killed since the war started. What have happened? What's happened? This guy is having red carpet receptions everywhere. So, I mean, Nathaniel is having red carpet reception in the Big Brother house in America. He goes everywhere to get the reception, they're having time. Tell me if a Hamas leader will leave to go to anywhere, like if he's not going to Egypt, he can't even come to anywhere in Europe. So yeah, let me get my colleagues the chance to speak on this. That's what I would say on.
I tend to share similar view with that of with Jamal. As I stated earlier, look, Iran has been the most persistent Arab nation in the Middle East that tend to support the Palestinians, tend to stand up against Israel's aggression. Look, some Arab countries are complacent, like Jordan. They will go to the United Nations and they will talk, so the Arab brothers will say they are in solidarity with the people of Palestine. But hey, when Hezbollah, when Hamas shooting the rockets, firing rockets, don't you know the Americans and Israel, they have what do you call it? The drone. I mean that protects the missile. I mean that that intercept the missile is from in Jordan. What a contrast! What a contradiction! And I mean, so look, I cannot say much about that. We all know that the world is turning a blind eye to the anarchy, to the massacre, to the genocide that's going on in the Middle East, and the Arab brothers not helping. I mean, in Sweden, there was a protest plan to go to the Israeli embassy. The Swedish police, I mean, and the security and the intelligence units, I mean, that's suppressed the protest. They took the people to the square, way far from the Israeli embassy, because the American embassy is not too far. So look, there's a lot of double standards out there close on that. Where are the moral police? Where are the moral police around the world? America, European Union.
But the America just said that the place is nice to build, so the people can move. They can move somewhere else. And I mean, could you imagine they did that in Australia? They did that in America. They did that in South Africa. This is what South Africa stand firm. Say what you guys are doing is complete genocide. What say you, Linford?
Well, I think the Arab world, like Jima said, the Arab world, all of the neighbors of Palestine, whether you are neighbor, close neighbor or not, they should take clues from what's happening. It's happening to Palestine. It's been there for years. We've seen leaders come from Palestine. They try to negotiate. Leaders come from Israel. They've been on this team from the time some are all born. Until now, it still continues. So the rest of the Arab world should take clue. If you got hunchback people in the town and one of them die, the way they will be breaking the male bone to fit in the casket, that one can make the rest of them, the one that living, start crying. So from Palestine, it could country up. Now, you listen to the last video, it will emphatically tell you that the motive of that war is to obliterate, to eliminate all the Arab people from that part of the world called Palestine or Gaza and build what Trump calls, or resorts or whatever. And Netanyahu is also looking at that. Then, we hear complaining about people dying there and not, of course, it is the interest of the big words. So who cares? Okay, it is the big guy who calls the shot. So it's like when Liberians were at war. There were war in the Balkan. So you could hear about the Bosnian Serbs and the Croats, they were killing each other. You could hear the names, but who cares about Liberia except when Ghani Robin White who wants some, because he used to like this kind of cantankerous story, then he will call Taylor and then they talk once in a while. So a little country like Liberia fighting war, killing its own people, they care. Palestine will know that they want Israel to occupy the land, so whether you destroy all the Palestinians, nobody cares. Now, how in the world that you will see in that video also, you will see convoy coming with light and you say the light was not on. What were you wearing on your eye? Were you drunk? You couldn't see? So it's just difficult. But this is to say that the rest of the Arab world should take clue and say it's not happening to them. They should get prepared. In time of peace, you prepare for war. Because after Palestine, who knows next? Gaddafi was killed right here in Africa. Saddam Hussein was killed right there in Iraq. Under false allegation they have weapons of mass destruction that we did not even see pistol. So when they finish with Palestine, they say no more Hamas or whatever. They might turn to Qatar or Jordan and say you got atomic bomb and they're coming for you. It will be too late. Okay, so like Jima said, I think they should be the ones to stand. We do expect them to fight Israel or to fight, whoever supporting Israel in this war, but at least show that concern that even if other people wanted to help, they will see that there is somebody already helping. But if they say that supposedly, well, and say, well, is that happening to us? Fine. But the last video, my final comment on it is that the entire idea behind that war is to clear the people from that place. Because Netanyahu is saying it, that the Gazan can move. Move to go where? You came from somewhere, they try to force you to a people place. Now you want them to move. So you want them to be like you, destitute around the world, then they'll go find somewhere. Where they'll carry them, maybe they'll carry them to Africa and say you'll put them here. So I don't understand.
Before we transition, one last more clip, the hypocrisy of the world. And Francis talked about Iran and the Houthis. Those are the two countries in the Middle East that actually stood firm to defend those people. But the rest of the people, they are all puppets. Egypt, it's just next door. Egypt is just next door. They
Egypt can see what happened to Libya. So Egypt, they can see.
Look, Paul, let me just say something. You just mentioned Egypt. I just want to add this quickly. Look, Egypt and Israel fought a very bloody war. The Americans were supporting Israel. The Russians and the Americans were supporting Egypt.
Well, was it a 6-day war or 3-day war, something like that?
Yeah, something like that. It was very bloody. But now, yes, it's tough. America is keeping that holding Egypt, country that Turkey back. Turkey is a very formidable military force in that region.
Yeah.
But hey, all the countries they are building infrastructure. There are no more camels walking in the capital cities anymore. If you go into any war with these people, your infrastructure will be damaged. It will take you another 1,500 years to build up again. So since Palestine is already destroyed, it's just like, okay, you're focused there. Look at Dubai. Dubai was just a fishing hub, a little island, a little country in the desert. I mean, they used to live on fishing. How they have built a structure. Other countries around it, Jordan, everybody picking up. Nobody want to get involved in a confrontation with Israel. Israel is a loose cannon now. They got a finger on all the weapons. They're ready to hit any target with American support.
And Israel has a nuclear weapon, but they said Iran shouldn't have. So the last clip before we move to Liberia, the hypocrisy of the war. Listen to this. A young guy they call Mahdi Hassan. I think it was the one I interviewed early when she ran away. Listen to this.
Why does the UK government get to have nuclear weapons and say the Iranian government doesn't?
Well, because we chose to so equip ourselves.
Why can't they do that?
Because governments which are irrational, who have nuclear weapons or who may become irrational, pose a particular threat. And I'm afraid, you're not going to like what I'm going to say, I suspect, but we have Iranian leaders who clearly think it was a very bad idea that Israel was ever invented. And they look forward to the day when Israel will be disinvented.
So take Iran out of the equation. Can other countries who don't say bad things about Israel, can they have nuclear weapons?
Well, we have the Non-Proliferation Treaty.
Whereby we get to have nuclear weapons.
That is what the treaty set up.
And who's the guy that got interviewing?
It's a former British defense. He was the chief of staff. They call it chief of staff in Liberia. Former British chief of staff.
Okay.
So you see the hypocrisy in the world. You can have nuclear weapon because you are West, but no other country should have it.
It goes to define what they call democracy. When the West will impose their way of living on African countries or on the rest of the world and say, look, this is how we want you to live. Democracy is all about controlling your mind, that this is what we want you to do. If you agree to it, then fine, then you are part of us. If not, then you are not a good guy. Okay? Then we'll turn on you. So the thing we're talking about, about Africa earlier, why is it that we can see far beyond? Not that we don't have visionary people in Africa, but the people have teamed us. I always give this example. Giant animals like elephant, tigers, no dangerous animals. They had to put in the zoo. They didn't open the tiger. They didn't walk in the zoo willingly. The elephant didn't walk there willingly. But when they probably injected it and grabbed it and put it in the zoo, when it woke up, it's confined. They were fighting. Imagine how the elephant was fighting. The first day, the second day, he got hungry. The same people who put in there, they brought small food for him to eat. They gave him water to drink. Then he started fighting again. He did it for a few days. He said, well, I think I just belong here, so let me just forget it. That's why Africans have become. And that's how the rest of the world that follow the white man's idea about democracy have become. Because what is democratic about you going to decide the form of or the way that other people should live according to your way in their country, but they cannot come to you? America goes all around the world. to remove government, to install the kind of government they want. But which country ever in the world have gone to even one state in America and say you change your I know who they have for the state? Okay, it cannot happen, but they can do it. So what is a democracy? But again, and the whole world, not only Africa, the whole world. Africa is just a minute component because for Africa, the people can manipulate, they can manipulate in any kind of way. Number one, we are dependent on them. Okay. And I think this is one of the reasons why they got a problem with the Arab world. Even though the Arab world too, they can revenge. When they revenge, it can be bad. But the problem is nobody should be higher up like them. And so the Arab world, they say, no, you can't do that. We gotta be equal. And then when grandma open, man, somebody think not good to talk. Let's just forget it. Let's move on.
Okay.
When you start talking, you even the door here, then you look in the ear, you see some bad things.
Yeah. Well, I think we have come. Gemma and Francie, you want to chime in before we move to our mama Liberia and talk what's happening at LRA?
No, I don't, man, bro. I don't. I think, man, I know because it's a clear injustice. Israel, and I think Benjamin Netanyahu should be called the butcher from now on. He should be nicknamed the butcher.
Great. Mr. Kamara, you muted. Oh, okay.
I think he's having a problem with the network.
That's on delay.
Yeah, you gotta. Okay. Anyway, today there was Front Page Africa that reported this story here. Corruption scandal at LRA. the thing with my beloved country, there's always good news and bad news, but the bad news always more. This one here, they get over 50 employees at LRA. Documentary was received by Front Page Africa on this, and these guys, they've been using they set up their own device to steal from the people, fraudulent. So they're using insurance. Like if friends gets sick, you go to hospital and put some kind of story together to claim big money. It's an insurance scam that's been set up at the LRA, and the guys are using it to their advantage. So this scandal now, he have reached to the place that he has stolen over millions of US dollars from this insurance fraud that is happening at LRA. So that's the scandal. Front Page is breaking the story. It's internal. So people are getting rich. I think we're in a wrong job in a place here. I think we need to go and join this guy in Liberia to cut some of the elephant meat. That's the story reported on Front Page Africa. Corruption never stops. This is Liberia. Jamal said it all because people are getting paid higher, the other people pay low. They get 5, 6 children to send them to school. You find means to corrupt the system. And I agree with Jamal on this. It's not going to stop anytime soon. You will always find a means to steal from people. That's the scandal. And this scandal, I think it been around since George Weah time. So it has not been elevated to a higher level. Jamal, you can hear us?
Sometimes it becomes very difficult, like Francis said, to discuss Liberia's issue. Liberia is just like one old car. One day the tire ball, by the time change the tire, they change one star. No, tell me, LRA, but let me get something straight for it. That's the Liberian Revenue Agency, right?
Liberia Revenue Authority, that's them.
Authority. Okay.
And my good friend Dawa Jala is over there. He's the boss.
Okay. This is the group that is responsible for collecting all revenues. And I remember a couple of months ago, if not months ago, weeks ago, the same Dawa Jala came out in a press conference and was boasting that the LRA has collected so amount of money, meaning that the LRA was doing well now. They were collecting government revenue and stuff like that. We need to find out And this is so. How do people pay their taxes now? How do businesses do that registration? To whom? Because if the LRA itself is corrupt, where will the business people go pay tax? Where will the property owners pay tax? Because the fear is that if I carry to LRA, they'll eat it. Okay? So it's just difficult to discuss Liberia's issue because this should be an entity that is supposed to be, nothing is 100% though, but at least 90% will be okay. Let it be fair. 90% say, okay, this is what we're doing. But they go and set up a scheme and collect money that should be going to government revenue. And no wonder why.
So Linford, what they say, a major corruption scandal has racked the Liberian Revenue Authority with nearly 50 employees under investigation for alleged involvement in an insurance fraud scheme. So that insuring the milking, because all of them, so they have the insurance syndicate that, you know, when you're ill, you get claim some kind of big money. You say, oh, I was going to Harvard, I had this something, somebody hit weight flash, I had to go to JFK, but they will put big money on it, and the Inco who were insurance company.
Well, we gotta wait for details to come up because it said, I don't know whether it's the LRA that set up the insurance or
no, the employees they're claiming. So they link the LRA link with insurance company. So the guys are this story been around from George Weah time. So it is something that it was happening before it been leaked. Now it's gone to another level. So the level of which it's gone to, you get experience because we are turning our inexperience. So now you have experience. You know, my man, if you can steal, you're a good thief, right? I remember when we were small, there was a guy used to be called Jimmy Ringo back in the days. So Jimmy Ringo was a senior thief. Then the petty thief then that they didn't understand the way Jimmy Ringo used to work. If they tried to be caught by the police. So the United Party government, they are the experienced people. So they are all hands in a business. You can't just, so now it's alleged until front page and gave all the full facts. But over 50 employees have been the honor investigation for the insurance scam that is happening. But millions of dollars have disappeared. So it's under investigation.
I don't think I have anything much to say on that story.
Liberia.
Okay.
Francis,
can I quickly say something?
Well, quick, let me just come in. Look, not everything we see in newspaper too gotta be, it's a news though. So we have to further investigate. I know that place is called raw place. I mean, you see some of the guys, the kind of property they own. You won't believe it.
So why would you believe? So why would you believe what you see in the newspaper there?
Well, bro, look, I mean, let me again. I just say,
Francis is right. Francis is right. Not all
we know to be a notorious rogue in the whole area among us here. You come to my house, only get missing. I was a leave for before I behold somebody else talking.
Yeah, but at least you gotta accuse me before I can vindicate myself, and then when you find a person there.
So okay, so you told someone they start beating you, and then the thing you want to make it sound soft, and start with the beat you badly, and then you say, so that's what happening now. Yeah, go ahead, Jamal. That move on. I need something on my mind.
Yeah, but Jamal just came from Liberia, so at least he's fresh, and I think the guy can.
Yeah, quick. Thank you very much, Francis. And what does that mean? That I have the knowledge of everything that happened in Liberia? No way.
No, anyway, you stay fresh.
Jamal is free to double jab.
Thank you very much. I got a lot of organic food in my system right now.
Right, you see that?
Okay, on the serious note. Paul, on a serious note, guys, Paul, I want for the benefit of our listeners, it was be good like what the whole thing, who broke it? Is it like LRA is doing their own investigation, or is some leaked, or is LAA, Liberian Anti-Corruption Commission, doing the investigation? Those need to be clear first. What is the story? I didn't read the story. What is
it's front page that have the source. It's front page. So they said they have been alleged.
Investigating what?
LRA.
No, listen.
LRA
the question I'm asking.
Yeah. Go on.
Oh, LRA is doing their own internal investigation. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. For that, let's, like Francis said, let's leave it as it is. Sometimes we want to catch the biggest news story to sell our paper, but what about double Jala is one of those guys that want to respect a guy who knows his way around, and it's something like that kind of be surprised that you'll be involved in it. Probably has been going on in his place, under his nose. He didn't see it, and then it just leaked, and you want to investigate. That could be another thing. But like my colleague Francis said, that the way they twist the story in the newspaper will be like very sensational for to get the story. But it will be good that these things come out. LRA and the NASCO, those are the places people don't know they make a lot of money, and we don't know corruption either. We always say it, guys. System is not in place. Corruption are always going to be. If they're going to be corruption, you can't help it. We need to have a system where we can sustain ourselves at least 80%. Then you see, then you can be able to punish for corruption. You can't pay me full to sustain myself. They expect me to not to be corrupt. How can we cope? How can we cope in this situation? I said it earlier on. I'm being paid $50, and my responsibility flat budget is $100 per month, and you pay me $50, and I'm a family man. How do you expect me to survive? So this is a system. We'll keep sitting here talking corruption. System, that's how it works in Liberia. The people live in a very poor situation.
No, but
if you see that, everybody.
Let me counter you a little bit. Let me counter you a little bit. Most of the people who are corrupt, they are not poor people. Most of the poor, like for instance, you hear PB names, people who are well-to-do.
I'll come there, Limpo.
Okay.
I'll come there. What I'm trying to say, once you put a system in place like that, then you pay for what you are qualified for. You been whatever job you do, whether it's manual job, whatever job, then you have a system. Then you got to put a system where you punish other people. Then if someone is involved in the embezzlement, whatever, misappropriation or taking money, they have all power. Why is it that the old man is not able to punish others that are left? That's the system, because everybody got involved. Everybody is in the candy jar. So the bigger guys have access to the funds. Like we heard on the spoon, you saw they were talking about the agricultural money that came out, some kind of grant coming out. If the vetting system went on, they didn't give people who could be qualified for it. And if there was a system in place to punish those who are doing these things, they won't do it. The Pope or the imam or the chief imam will steal if nobody will control him. But if he has a system where in place that he will not mess about, he will not take it. That's my point here. That's an analogy here. You can't, if the system in place that you touch that money, you'll be punished.
How do we get a system in place? Because the people who supposed
to
make it, how do we get a system in place? The one who make the system work, they are the one involved in stealing. So how do we get a system in place?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The promises they tell the matter to come to power is that we will eliminate corruption, we'll do these things. But it's up to us. Look, you see these stories that came about, a lot of stories from the time the past 1.5 years, the government came to power. There are a lot of stories of corruption that came into the air, it involved top guys. But what has happened to them? So if the citizens themselves are challenging them, the media system is not challenging those in authority. We are not taking, we just talk and play. Like you myself will sit there, I will talk about it. How much can we do? What system can we do to put it on control? Put these people in check, to check and balance. It's not working. So those guys that make the rules and they don't live by the rules. So what happened next? So nobody, like if in this country, you know this. I want to come an example, Paul. When they're trying to deport people from here to go to Rwanda, what they say is they went out on the street. They're not even immigrants. They say themselves on the streets, they blocked that airplane, right? Did it happen? Yeah. It didn't happen. That's what we're talking about. The people need to take some that we are afraid to take charge to make the system work.
This is a problem I will face in Liberia, because when people want to exercise their right, all of Liberians say, oh no, they will bring war, so they shouldn't go on the street and say all kind of things. And they will take onto this platform and discourage people from exercising their right. So how do we get this thing going? Because my thing here, I've been saying, the only solution to the Liberian problem is to find some kind of 19-year-old boy like Abraham Traore to seize power and say, look, I'm not going to ride all of these things. We're going to shut down democracy in Liberia. That's the only way we'll have to stay in place. Because if we depend on the corrupt people, it will never happen. If we depend on the fourth estate, the media, they are a bunch of people that compromise. They never ask questions. They never encourage people. So what do? This is what we're faced with. We'll be seeing
Yeah, okay.
on the
I mean, that's another day of discussion, but we discuss that way. That's another point of discussion. Probably another day, or somebody else taking over. I think we can discuss another time. But my point here is the problem is like people need to be punished for what they've been doing, and if that keep going, the one thing we did, we knew that with the old man would have taken bold step was to, punish those that really were involved into taking a lot of the money out of the coffers, government off coffers with no investigation. So the people keep saying flying crowd or witch hunting, and he stopped. And now, if he steals again, nobody's going to complain. So this is what happens. Oh, the witch hunting us because they stole. If you see how many buildings these guys put up, properties these guys bought in the first 6 years, man, you can't believe it. A single person carried the property. You can't believe it. And you see how much people being paid in Liberia in terms of salary. Paul, is unbelievable. So the system, somebody need to get punished for it. And the people know who owns those property. We know one another in our country. Paul, if people bought the property around and we know how much Paul paid for how much the value was. And people saying this was happening and nobody's talking. So everybody fighting to get to be the representative, to be a minister, to be and the first thing to do the steal. Nobody's going to question them. The system where that 19-year-old thing you're talking about, that's another day of discussion. Whether we encourage another major to take over, that's a point of argument we can discuss all throughout the day. But I think I want to put that to another day.
Okay. Francis say he have something on mind, and he want to leave. So Francis, I know your bedtime is and you're back with all that. Talk to us. What on your mind?
Look, I think what is on my mind, what has been trending lately is this VP's cry for benefits and emoluments. Look, I think it's a time in Liberia that we get serious in our country. These people cannot be in office for 6, 10 years, 20 years, accrue millions of dollars. After 6 months, they start crying for benefits. I don't know who constructed or who developed such a constitution or whatever that will allow these people to keep milking the country over the years. Look, serious-minded people, if you serve in such a high position after 6 years or 7, 8 years, 9 years, you should have enough money now to open factories that will work for you. Smart people in this country, what we find ourselves in the open think tank, consultancy, open the join, they create job opportunities, factory, they bring the money together. That's again somebody they adding 12 years people. Those guys, all the money they had, if 3 or 4 of them can come together, say, look, we have this money, we don't want, we can open a factory, we can open a slipper factory, we can open a flower. God, look, these are simple things you can put your money together. But after year in, year out, we pay them all the money, they steal all the money, they have all the benefits, Social Security paying them. I don't know what they do now. If they do not save their money, then be crying for benefit. I think should be totally strapped off. Because they give is a avenue, there's a medium for people to struggle to be in power. Once they get there, they put their foot there, now, so we'll forever be rich, we'll forever make the system. Once you serve a position, you save your money, use it wisely. after you leave, your pension or what you receive, no extra benefit. Why would somebody be receiving their pension? Then the government be giving them money. Then you got your own savings account. It make no damn, it make no sense, man.
Friends say you are right, and I didn't want to talk about it, but it's good you brought it up. That George Howard thing, you see, they themselves crafted their own law within that legislature that when they leave, they'll pay themselves until they die. It was during the early time they did that. They crafted it good for themselves. So, and what they did is so wrong that if friends said now the president, if our president before, if friends say if I was making 15,000, I left, and friends said came here, friends said making 20,000, 50% of that 20,000 that friends is making, that's what I will have until they die. What sort of nonsense is that? That's why when I said that country would not have no system in place until a 19-year-old boy will come and seize and stop everything, because those groups now waiting to stop their benefit that they're getting. That's what we're faced with. They create situation to steal from us, and the country, people can't send their children to school.
Look, I think what we need a national consciousness, a national movement. Ordinary citizens go out and demonstrate. Look, against these people, because it's so unfair.
But sometimes I get confused when Francis raises certain issues. Now he's talking about demonstration. Now, when the people go to demonstrate, the police will come and start using brutality. Then when we talk, he said, "Oh, the people are looking suspicious." Students were demonstrating.
That's a conscious movement.
So
I'm talking about a national issue, national that affect the country across the spectrum. Not about a particular
that
group
will
of
even
people.
be more dangerous for people to demonstrate, because
Even including the police. The police themselves affected.
Yeah, but
they themselves affected. The army is affected.
The police will not go demonstrate though. But anyway, let me get army force. I will take
police can demonstrate. It's a right.
I will take a very different stance on that one. Joe Howard Taylor is not begging. Joe Howard Taylor, like any other vice president, will not beg for their benefit. She's not begging. That's what the law says. The law was written.
But the law is wrong.
Oh, my friend.
We need to go back and change that law.
Until you can repeal or amend the
we
law.
It's their own law. They decided, they sat in our house and decided to do it for themselves. They make their own law.
The law for the vice president, the president is different from the law that is.
No. Not only that though. The representative, the senators, all of them included. Not only that.
I agree. But Joe Howard is not crying now as senator. She's crying as well. She's crying as former vice president. The president who got today, he cried. He did the same thing.
But it's the money that friends are talking about, because they were getting, Joy Howard still getting money. The money she's getting, that's the money she getting now is her senatorial money, but she want her vice president money.
Yeah, she's entitled to it.
She's not getting, she getting. But I want to give her a too small.
Yeah,
because the vice president, they want to
let me ask you in your right mind.
Yeah, but who you blame?
That woman office, she had an annual budget. She had an annual budget of almost 7-8 million.
Francis, the law is planned. I'm not interested in that. It's a lawful. My question is simple. Is it lawful for ex-vice presidents and presidents to get their benefit when they are not in office anymore?
It should be unlawful.
No, but it says it should be, but now, as it said, it's lawful. It's in the law.
That law was
it's a lawful. It's a lawful. It's in our law now. Whether you go or not, but it's in our law now.
It's in the law. It's there.
Okay,
it's not a law.
It's not doing anything wrong.
It's not in the law. It's not a law.
Until they can repeal the law, she's not doing anything wrong.
No, nobody says she's doing something wrong, but you remember when you started, when you started saying the people don't love the country. That is the point. And that's what Francis is alluding to. Because there's no love for country. 50%. They decided.
Friend, I told you from the start. You talk about the law for country. There is nothing like law for country when a job is up for grab. When there is open rather, the other people that go for senatorial by election in Nima, you see law written in that chest. The people are going to go work and get money. You talk about law. When you talk about law for country, let me give you examples. When you talk about law for country, God forbid, earthquake take place in Liberia, the people you see going to go voluntarily move people from under the rebels, that people who got law for country. If there is flood, people you see going to go rescue people, that people get law for country. But not somebody when job opportunity is open, the mayor goes there, you're going to get money, they say that law for country. Bull wreck. There's no law for country. People working for money. So let's just accept it as it is.
So
then one guy can say from there and say, oh, I love a country so much, so you're making me president. You love a country? You want me president? That will know that I love a country. So all the shenanigans try to play on the minds of the people. And it all boils down to what we're talking about, the international community coming to take out. When they can't they fool you, when you use that kind of lifestyle. Okay, what the hell somebody will tell you, he get love for country? How does he know that his love for the country is more than you who going to vote for him for your love? I mean, how big is his love more than your love? See, simple thing. Lack of knowledge is what perishing our people.
Look,
and our people now want to withdraw.
I respect your opinion on that, but look, that is dead wrong. You working. Where you working? Even the people, I mean, if I come a man in Liberia.
I work in the government, right? I work in the government system. And when I reach 67, I can retire, or if I want to stay, I can work up to 72, or even up to 80, fine, go, right? So when I retire and start requesting my money, my salary, will it be wrong? Because in the law.
No.
My pension, will it be wrong?
No, pension is different from benefits.
Hey,
exactly.
Brother, that's the other one.
And friends said, look, the way they structure it themselves
from Social Security, which is a pension company. I'm out here. I got a state pension. I'm paying for it, but I got my own private money I put aside. So when I know that my pension, my retirement money will not be enough, and I'll be having an extra 1,000 or extra 2,000 every month until I die. That's why I put a lot of money aside.
The people are wicked. Check your prime minister over there when they step down. Do they get 50% of salary of the current prime minister? They are so wicked to Liberia.
No, because it's not in the law. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I forget about it. Not in the law, Bennett. What? Listen now.
Paul,
I won't listen to you on this one unless you give me a chance to speak.
Yeah, but right now, as we talk,
they decided that to make it law. That wickedness is higher, and we cannot say people who get wickedness to defend them. What did they say that's the law?
Listen. You know that law is written, right? 2029 coming. We're going to go put another group of crook in. We're going to vote for them. We know that law is there. We're not thinking about canceling the law. We're going to go put it there. When they start demanding, then we'll say, I know it's wrong. I know it's wrong.
You know it's wrong, and you're defending it. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not defending it.
No. Get what Leaford is saying that it's in the law. But what can we do?
Okay.
They got something. They got something in sociology, anyway, we call it active citizenship. We as Liberians in the diaspora and at home, I mean, we need to go and make sure that these things those laws are repealed because it's not in the interest of the country. The people are just milking our country. Only one group of people.
The law we're dealing with. When was the last time it was repealed or amended?
But listen. Now these things are coming to surface. I mean, we are seeing there are more discussion on it, bro.
See,
there are more discussion on it. People are being more enlightened.
Another group of crook in. We'll put it there. Then right now, what we should be thinking about is making
people are more enlightened. Look. The money that we spend on public officials, the SSs, it can go towards other things in the country. It go to health care. you go to education, you go to roads. We spend too much money on public officials in our country, bro. We
But
cook,
man,
we
the
buy
people
them
are
car,
wicked.
we buy them car, we buy gasoline, we
Yeah.
do this. That woman, she stay in office for all the years. She crying for things that I get gasoline. I go in heaven.
Yeah, but that
Who pays
by
your
law.
gasoline when you retire from work?
She going by the law. That's why I keep stressing
But
the
that
law.
law is ambiguous. I mean, she
Yeah.
lost.
So what are we doing? We should be fighting
Let's
to
say,
repeal the law than fighting
let's
or
say,
crime behind the people who are claiming
look,
that is rightfully under the law. That's my
keep,
point.
yeah, that's it. Because the law says that if you retire or somebody else, but she was not retired. They were defeated. She was sacked. So if you get sacked from your job, your job will pay you 50%.
So then why they pay Joe Baka?
Because it's wrong too. It's wrong.
It's wrong. It's just wrong. They created their own thing to steal from Liberian people, and that's what I'm saying.
How do you correct a wrong thing? How do you correct wrong?
How do you correct that? Why Jesse will get up because the whole thing, that group, you cannot go fight them now because they're there, they enjoying it. They'll put on resistance. And that's what I'm saying for Liberia to be on the straight path. We need a 19-year-old Abraham Traore to clear that whole place. Demonstration will help those people, they will fight. That's what I'm saying. They make their own law to benefit them, but not the people. That's what I'm saying.
We need to agitate. We need a conscious movement going forward. I'm telling you, we will not be silent on anything. Because these people cannot be living on just Liberian people. We get it, everything, man. God, you leave office, you steal from us.
There's another group that just came up with a clever idea, and because we Liberia, we just narrow-minded in looking at things. How will I spend $1 million of my own money that I sweat for to build bridge for you, and I say I just gave it away free? Put me as a senator, I'll get my $1 million back off you. Listen to this new idea that the CMC came up with. We'll build a bridge, we'll spend money, we'll make you to vote for us. Then in return, we'll get our money back when we get in the house.
Yeah.
It's here because our people not even thinking.
No, you see, that's what I'm saying. As we speak, we say now cry here. Tomorrow, if you have one wrong, you see people going for her.
Guys, I gotta go, man. I see you.
Yeah, even me. I gotta go.
11 o'clock here.
My team just won 3-0.
Oh, we won?
They beat Real Madrid 3-0.
Oh man, I missed the game, but oh man.
Yeah, so I just got a flash. Arsenal 3, Real Madrid 0. So I'm now going to celebrate, guys. I got a new drink now because of I got rid of Jack Daniel. Now I'm on this one here now.
Hey, Captain Morgan.
Yeah. Since Joseph Barker let me down by the World Crown Code now. I'm not drinking Jack Daniel anymore. I own Captain Morgan now, so I'm going to celebrate my team victory, guys. It was a good show. It's good to have
you guys, man.
Okay, it was a good show.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks to our viewers for being with us here. Linford, talk to our viewers before we close.
Well, thanks for being here, and we have some new people here tonight, and they likes people. A lot of people like Scott Sharif Jr., Ellis Cooper, Chaps Renewable Energy, Lasana V Kamara, Bataki, Romeo F Dennis, or my boy from Rare Oslo, Mjor Support TV, and Alan. Thanks all of you for liking, and for those of you whose name I didn't see. We'll be here on Friday. And like I said, we're going to have a guest on Friday. The guest and myself have concluded already. He's been here before, and that guest will be here to discuss or plan reconciliation talks that the people of Bonkante want to have. And my concern for getting a guest is which part of Bonkante is it? All Bonkante? Is Bonkante Alaga here? Why is it necessary for reconciliation at this time in an entire country. As far as I know, one country are not fighting. One country they don't have warring factions in one country. What is it that they want to reconcile? So be here if you want to know the answer to all of these questions. Be here on Friday evening. We're going to have Mr. Dennis Cassidy. He's going to be here, and if we can lay hand on any of the one country officials, we also want them to be here. But I'll be making efforts between now and Friday to see if I can, have some of their lawmakers or whatever. But if not, we'll be able to have Dennis, and he'll be telling us exactly what they intend to discuss at their the proposed reconciliation. So be our guest on Friday. Don't miss it.
Bring your man mobile. Why you need from a little man from your MPP there?
George Molua.
Yeah.
Okay. I will try. I will try to see if I can get contact. But that's it for you guys, our viewers. Be with us on Friday. It was nice being here. And without you, we cannot be here. And without us, we cannot be here. Thanks, Francis. We know your back is not stable yet. And me, my voice is not too okay yet. And Chima just traveled from Liberia, so he's still hanging up. The internet mad. He got to fix it. But Friday is going to be very interesting. Join us. Thanks for watching. And this is how we like to take leave of you. I don't know whether that's it, but let me see.
What we want to do to please you? We get people around, they acting that they let you when you show up. I saw you turn your body and it choked off. You buy your Lego, people buy you Lego, if you can post your man, baby, you post your man.